Hey, good morning, traders. How we doing? Happy Thursday. It's about 5 o'clock out here, West Coast time. Rain coming down in California. How's your trading day? Did you find anything? I was just playing around this morning, going through my trades. I didn't trade yesterday. I didn't have my computer with me as I was out and about because I had a fairly busy day, and I get really distracted by the charts. I get really into it. So I'm always, if I know I got a busy day, I just leave it at home and just, bite the bullet. I'll trade another day. Kind of my mindset. But anyhow, no biggie. Looks like price is still coming off from the news yesterday. I don't know if you know this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Price often fills the gap, right? Where's the other one at? See, price fills the gap. So one thing to look for when you have a big gap like that. Where's that 50% guy? Where's the 50% guy? He got creamed. I only laugh because I saw this YouTuber talk about that. And he's a hardworking dude, but I laugh because I'm not, it's not bad advice, but it's just, there's no, so his whole thing was that you can sell the 50%. Price pulls back 50% of the swing of this. And I always thought it was a swing. And I was kind of curious because it was more, I look at the swing and not the impulse or the gap or whatever you want to call it. And it worked in his scenario. He, said, hey, here it is. He had a link to where he said it and all this stuff. I get really excited about these things when I find something that I've been toying with because I think about it. And I'm kind of going off the rails here, but like when I look at a swing, price typically pulls back 50%. I just don't know where to put my stop. And then then my risk goes out of whack. Then my whole, my business plan changes because I can't lean into that. But what I do lean into, I'll tell you what, I'll get back to the review here in a second. I tell you what I do though is I draw it out and I say, okay, let's see what happens. And now I take that information and now I say, oh, I've got my impulse. Or you could even say, I've got your impulse here. I mean, this is kind of a double-legged spot, but, use it in conjunction with, the setup that we teach about, impulse leg, shelf, wash, and then a reaction. And now you have something much more healthy to lean into. Didn't work, but you know what I'm saying? You can manage that. You can manage that trade, all day long. Just hide behind the stops until you get wiped out, and you get a little dinker trade. So yesterday we were talking as the news. I'm going to pull the news up just right now so we don't get hoodwinked again. I didn't realize the consumer price index was going to be that hostile. So today we got PPI going out. Okay, so we're going to watch to see what happens again. The news probably isn't going to be good, and it's going to sell off. I did listen to a guy talk yesterday, and I was kind of, I had to agree with him because he was trading stock or some instrument, and I'll have to go back and look. And it was going just, up. And there's stocks that are going up because of what, the S&P is doing down, right? So his statement was something about the gain over a 3-month period of was this, and this is coming down the other side, and it really gets me thinking, but and not that I want to change time frames and change all this stuff because there's all kinds of things that go into it. your size changes, your risk changes. There's different flow. There's things that nuances that every chart has because there's different traders in there, and so you kind of have to um, play with it a little bit. And I might explore something. This is just this action here uh, is a little tough. It's hard to lean into some really stellar trades where we're getting my trade's been off since this has happened. November. I my numbers are not as positive, but I'm not like where I was at. I'm taking a few more hits and trading less. I mean, this is really hard to trade, and so I was kind of listening to the guy. I might have to change it up. We'll be okay, but I'm just saying that I don't know what I'm saying. Gaps get filled is what I was saying. So what did happen yesterday? What happened? Price comes out. We had the price drop off, and then we were watching it. It bounced on the kill zone from over here. I drew the low end just to kind of have a reference, and then I went to work on it. And all I'm looking for is my setup, right? Everybody know what the setup is? Right? We're looking for an impulse leg. We're looking for a shelf, a wash, a test to the low, and then a place to get in behind the wash. And the reason why we're looking for this is that there's specific steps to it. It's not like you can say, well, what's going to happen next? Or, it takes a lot of the guessing out, and it puts the risk into a manageable pile, if that makes sense. Because and this is how I see it, I have nothing, I am I've been mentored by people, but there's people that can go into all the nuances of risk and all that statistics, all that stuff. I'm not that guy. But what it does for me is that it takes the risk out of chasing a short into buyers. It takes the risk out of chasing buyers into sellers. It takes the risk out of, well, what is this? Oh, it looks like this. It does this. It has this. I don't have to look at specific bars. I can just look at the structure. So we have an impulse that comes down, right? So where's one of my setups? I think I saw one over here. Right? So, and this is a really tight one. I was just playing around this morning, looking at it. But you have an impulse, right? Price is shooting up, taking out all these guys here. And then it builds a shelf, right? You could say that's your shelf. I like to look at a couple of different things. And in hindsight, I can make it look really perfect. So as much as I want to say I know this is going to happen, I don't necessarily catch them all. And in fact, I would have said that's your wash, and I want to put my order here. It's a one bar. It's a tiny little. I mean, compared to the other one, it's a tiny little impulse, right? That's a big fat impulse. This thing's just a little oof, and then I don't even know if I would have caught that, to be honest with you. What I would have caught was that there is a new high here that and it gives me a place to put in orders. Now, am I dropping my stop right behind this guy? No, I'm bringing it down here. That's a cheap enough stop for me to deal with. I can load up on that thing, and that's a perfect trade for me, right? And this is why I live in this world, because with my budget, with my and not that I I I know when I put a lot of contracts. I mean, I pretty much stick to my same contract size, or my the amount that I'm willing to lose in a day. I try and keep that as level as I can. And now it goes up and down from time to time because of wherever I'm at in my, whatever. But I don't load up on contracts because I think something's going to happen, or oh, this is going to be perfect. It usually never works out that way. So my point is that the more contracts I have on a trade, I'm getting nervous, man, because now it's real and your butt's on the line. And so if I can see something like this, just catch it real quick. And I note the time of day. I'm not even around at 8:30. I'm getting back in the office from dropping off the kids. So I probably would have missed this, but I would have paid attention. And you see the impulse leg, there's a tiny little shelf. And I wouldn't even call that a shelf until I saw this here, or actually I saw this here, this piece here. That's step 4, right? That is like impulse leg, shelf, wash, step 4, and then pull back. Now I would have said, well, where does it pull back into? Well, here's the last buyer, and then it's a gap. So, um, and then if you would have missed it, you could have tried it again, and I don't know if I would have caught it. I'm just saying that, you're going to see it around, step 4, step, it really doesn't show up here until step 4 after the wash. And that's fine because now you can say, okay, well, geez, like this one here, right? You have an impulse up. Now there's no wash, there's no shelf, the steps aren't there. You have an impulse leg, you have a shelf, you don't have a wash. But what you do have is a price taking out a high off a shelf. So when it pulls back, it's throw in some risk. You guys, I'm not saying trade every trade, but you could throw in some risk here and say, well, I'm just gonna, something like that. I don't know. Price takes off. I don't even know what I'm looking at now. Takes off, right? No shelf, new high. Orders would have been down here. It's just where price, it takes off and people have to reposition, right? And then price comes up here and goes sideways, right? Impulse leg up. There's a shelf there. You would have caught a little bit of a trade on this one. I would have probably been stopped out because, my risk is going to be here, somewhere in here. It would have taken off. And maybe I would have been able to say, okay, I can go to break. I don't know. It's hard to say. I would have been buttoned up under here though, manage that, and then I would have taken that hit. No big deal. But then it takes off. That's what price does. It washed these washes out, and it actually came back into this one. So guys, I'm 30 to 40% win rate. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just saying that. And then look at this. This is the top. So one of the things that I pay attention to when I'm trading is, this is the pressure cooker from here. When I'm near these tops and bottoms, I'm kind of not interested in trading. Right? Support, resistance, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's a pressure cooker. Keeps it clean. Why? Because someone say, well, at one point it's support, the next point is it's resistance, and then it's support. At this point here, that is resistance. At this point, it's support. And it's hard to figure that. To me, it's just like, ugh. So I'm naturally, just from all my years of trading, not getting too excited about, the top. Now, and see how it, it made a new swing here, and then it came back into here, and then it tries again, and really, I'm not. You can trade. I'm just saying what my preference is. I didn't even trade yesterday. Somebody probably caught 3 or 4 trades in there, and I didn't. 11 in here somewhere. I'm done trading. I'm not trading up to the close. I'm not, because this is just it. More often than not, it's just not easy trading for whatever reason. The money's out of the market. It's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, East Coast time. People are toast. It's hard sitting here in front of the computer trying to muster up this stuff. Let's go back to the swing before that. So what do we got? Maybe 1 or 2, barely any trades, and when stopped out. I mean, what did I miss? Right? You see it? Anybody else see it? And this is just how it shows up in different shapes, right? Wash. It got washed out. I'm just going to steal these lines. Don't tell anybody. It's got the same kind of feel. Impulse. There's not a real shelf here. It's just some stuff. But it takes out the high and it pulls back. And that's my point, is that it pulls back. It's the same thing over and over again. It's how price moves through the market. It's how it expands. I just like to see it in all its shapes and forms so I can, get a little better at it. And my win rate this month's pretty good because I'm not trading everything. So at 6:30, price comes out, it takes off, it goes up, pulls back. What does it land in? It lands in this guy here, kind of on top of this guy, right? So something to note that it's landing on the swing prior to the swing, that we're trading off of. So what swing are we trading? We're trading this swing. Well, maybe you want to trade one of these guys. So anyhow, price is pulling back into that swing, and this is where, right now, if you want to come into me and say, hey, 50% of the swing is where price, lands with a high probability, right? Here's a swing here, here's a swing here. Price didn't come down. I mean, it almost did, but it didn't really do it, right? I look at this from time to time, and I just want to gauge, not that I'm trying to, there's no swing there. I'm not trying to, I'm trying to just, like, it's almost like using the kill zone in the pressure cooker, the highs and the lows, to be like, okay, something's going on here. And then use it to lean into your next trade. So how would I, price comes down here, it bounces, tries, washes out these guys, and then it goes. Impulse. I'll clean some of this stuff up so we have a better understanding of this here. And I'll leave that there. Get rid of this here. And so we know that that's the 50. Right? Price. Now it has to beat something. See, I can't even make up a way. I don't even have anything to get into here. Even if we draw across here and say, okay, well, let's, it just doesn't have any, for me, it doesn't have any clear, easy, quick setup to follow, and I'm not looking to trade just to trade, maybe there, excuse me, maybe there is your first shot at it, but it doesn't really give you, a decent shelf. It just gives you kind of this little thing. And I don't even know if I could have caught that. but it works. I can tell you that right now, right? That's a 3-to-1 trade. And again, you're going into the kill zone or the pressure cooker for this guy, and see how it runs into the pressure cooker, and then it just flies right through it. Just flies right through it. So anyhow, play with your charts. Try and figure out which ones, I wonder if this one's going to be different. It's not 50. I'll tell you that much. Right? So that's your swing. Price pulls back to the 50. And this is, again, and I'm down with it. I'm not saying I don't kind of poke my head around and say, okay, I think the pressure cooker and the kill zone are a little bit stronger of indicators. I am more inclined to buy this. Actually, I'll buy like something down here just to get, because you don't know. It's like, buy this. Price comes down here, buy this with a stop, somewhere. Look over here to your right, to your left, and say, okay, I want to be below this guy. And price is going up. You got the flow on your side. You what did we say? The 50. Right, so price lands in here somewhere. So my point is, I'd rather buy. If I was randomly going to buy something, at least I'm buying with the buyers, right? And you're selling with the sellers. If you sold that right there, you got a little. Okay, boom, you can manage it. You say it didn't just get me out. And guys, this comes after years of trading, right? We're taking every trade that we've had into our next trade, right? So this comes down here. You buy that right there. I'd rather buy that right there with a stop down here. And that's still not a terrible stop. I mean, it's going up and it's going to get, everything in there. But that 50, what's the 3/8 up here and the 7/5s down here? I mean, you never know. Maybe someone does. Maybe I just, maybe somebody does, and I just never bumped into it. So, yeah, that's it, man. That was probably, if I could go back in time, I would have bought that. I would have put every dollar in my, do that. But man, anyhow, I don't think this thing's going up. I think this thing's toast. I think there's too much chaos right now in the politics to make this really, So I marked this up here. I want to see price beat this. Did we look at the hourly or the hourly price? So right, everybody sees it, right? We have a swing come down, barely take it out, and then well, price comes down, and then it doesn't take it out, price comes down, and then lands into the kill zone, and now it's just toiling in here. We could end up down here over the next couple days. That PPI at noon or 5:30. Yeah, there was a little bar. Okay, I see it now. Right, nothing like the other day. So that's my kill zone. I'm watching in there. Interesting. See this? Your impulse leg up. This has been happening on this time frame a lot. There's your shelf. There's your pressure. Here's your shelf. There's your pressure cooker. I can't even say it. Here's your wash. Right? If you don't want to call this your pressure cooker, You can call it there. My point is that it hit, and I don't know what happened first. Probably that. Let's check it out. Yeah, it went up, hit, and then it comes back down here, right? Back with the sellers or the buyers. Now, do we have a 3-to-1 trade? I don't know. Right now, I'm not really, too confident. That's too big of a spread for me, really. But I'm watching it, and you can manage it, right? Yeah, you're right here now. Just get me up here somewhere, and it doesn't feel like it's going. So use the stop, guys. Make sure you see your setup. Don't be afraid to trade. Don't be, you've got to trade to practice. You've got to practice this. And it's just swing work, guys. It's just price is stepping up. Price is stepping down. Which way is it going, right? Right? Price came down here. Didn't go all the way up there. Mark out your zones, right? So you know that you're about to hit something. It's coming from over there. Like this thing's inside of this thing, right? I'm using that as a swing. I don't want to keep looking back. All right, guys. Well, oh man, something glitchy. All right, that's all I got. We'll talk later.